Rock supporters in the house. Green Lantern.
Hi, welcome everybody once again to a wonderful edition of People Politics. I am Aisha Sapp, your host, and I have a new co-host, Miss Gabriella.
Hello.
And we have two very special guests for you today. We have Dr. Bobby Mills, sociologist, correct? And then we have our very newcomer to candidacy, Ron Hale, who is running for District A. So let's get started.
On the local?
On the local.
Oh, well, let's see. Well, happy birthday to Houston. Our city was its anniversary, 177 years. What about that?
Houston, Texas was founded in 1836. In case many of y'all do not know, by two brothers. They bought 6,000 square feet of land by Buffalo Bayou and named it Houston after Sam Houston, who later on became elected our president for Texas.
I guess continuing with some pride.
Yes, but happy birthday, Houston, because yes, we do have pride for Houston.
Yeah, and on that note, guess the Texans beat the Dallas Cowboys.
Which is awesome.
24-6.
Very good, very good. I didn't see the game, but I think my other half did.
Right over here, yeah.
Then also, I think it would be very important to say happy birthday to Thurgood Marshall. His birthday was actually yesterday, but he was the first African American to be appointed to the Supreme Court. So happy birthday, Thurgood.
Turned 83, right?
Yes. And then our last, I think, big celebratory birthday is Warren Buffett, who is huge to the economic part of society. He goes down in history. He gave the most charitable donations.
Self-made
billionaire. He donated $62 billion to the Hathaway Foundation, and then turned around and in February bought Heinz for another $28 billion. So, happy birthday, Mr. Warren.
Happy birthday.
Gotta be nice. National news.
Let's see, what do we have on the national?
Martin Luther King. It was the 50th anniversary, and that was really, really a beautiful thing to watch the walkthrough, and at the Lincoln Memorial, and all of the guests who came and listening to our president's speech, and then I think that's about all that we've had. Well, we've got a lot going on.
Syria.
Syria. Yeah, that's interesting. Should we or should we not engage? Our president is issuing and asking for Congress to ensue that decision for the chemical weapons. So hopefully y'all are paying attention to that. Okay, so let's get into our panel. And this will be interesting because I hope that I can immerse y'all. Mr. Mills, you specialize, when I think of you anyway, I think of social inequality. And you write about economic diversity and equality. And so I'm curious to hear your standpoint when it comes to the elections. I read some of Mr. Hale's 7 points, and one of Mr. Hale's points was not to do a tax hike. So you want to tell me, how about telling our viewers, tell our viewers about you, okay. And then we will, Mr. Mills, we will engage you into that. So tell them who you are.
Well, I'm Ron Hale. I was the Director of Operations for NZ Control Specialists in Houston. We specialize in working with homeowners associations to give them the turnkey services they need. When you put up gates for a gated community, the city will no longer come onto your property. You have to engage and find service companies that will provide you with, if you have a water line break, if you have electrical lines down, you have to get the electric company to come out yourselves. The city won't just engage in it because it's private property and they're not allowed to enter. So I decided to run when a couple of the communities in District A asked, what can be done down at City Hall to change this? So that's one of my main goals when I get down to City Hall, is to change it, because you're paying the taxes for the city services, but you're not getting those services.
Okay, for all of our viewers, Mr. Hale, can you tell them what District A encompasses?
District A encompasses Spring Branch Independent School District, which is District A. It's everything north of I-10, south of 290, and it goes out to about Katy Hockley, which includes the Bear Creek area. It also includes Cutton Road all the way out to Spring Cypress on 249. There's a lot of incorporated areas out there. Then you also have incorporated 1960 in Kirkendall.
Okay. I have a question. I'm intrigued. I might be a little off the tangent, but I actually, you're a very young man.
Yes.
And you just tell us, we read your 7 points on your platform. And you, as a very young man, I want to know, you're definitely very appealing to, our peers.
Yeah.
What would you think, but there's also, with age come experience.
Yes.
So I want to know why this would be an advantage for you to be such a young man, when you know that there's probably people out there that are going to say, well, he's so young. So what would be, I want you to tell me.
Well, I've been working with homeowners associations for 16 years. When I turned 16 years old, I needed to get a job. My family was insistent. Actually, they were insistent at about age 13 that you need to start working. You can't just eat cereal and watch cartoons all day. So I started working with my grandfather, and he was an engineer in the Czech Republic. He came to America and ended up down here in Houston, and he opened the company. So he started showing me, my first thing was I was a bricklayer. I laid bricks to fix a fenced wall that was made of bricks for an apartment complex. Then we went in and fixed their lighting. Their light poles had deteriorated over time, and they needed a cheap way to fix them without spending thousands of dollars. So what we did was we designed a apparatus to put on the bottom of the poles to cover up the rust. We would cut all the rust out of the pole, put that on, and it saved them thousands of dollars. So I have that experience of wanting to save money and going through a lot of the CIP project for the city. You can see a lot of waste. They do about a 1% to 3% increase every year for inflation and cost, when the cost of goods is actually going down because there's more people that want to break into the city services, like being able to give them the goods that they need. They want to break into the purchasing to the city so that they can, do the job that somebody else is already doing.
Out of your opponents, Mr. Hale, you are the wild card, I would say. What is it about you that makes you stand out, that you think that the people would need to know? There was minimal information that we could find, like on your blog, because you were new,
Yeah.
and so and that's good and bad, because we're trying to find out. So, what is it that you think from your opponents makes you different?
Well, I want to be the voice of the unheard. That's our slogan for the campaign, because I live in Langwood, which is a highly predominant Hispanic neighborhood, and people look at me as Caucasian, but I'm actually half Native American, so I enjoy living in the neighborhood. There's a lot of activity through all the families that live there. Everybody's like a big family, even though most of us aren't related.
Right.
So I live in a low-income neighborhood, and I want to be able to give our low-income neighborhood a voice on city council, because it doesn't really have that voice. Okay. It seems that only the people that live close to the I-10 energy corridor are the ones that run city council for our district, and they don't really represent what the heart of the district is.
Okay.
How would you then implement this? You're a sociologist, and you're talking about well, there's a lot of Hispanics
Yes.
here in Texas, in Houston. And you're a sociologist, and you've noticed Houston is one of the cities that has a massive, the phenomenon of the gentrification, in different neighborhoods. So, but I want to know, how would you then, because this is happening, a lot of, it's a constant, it's like a live city, constantly, people are moving from these particular group, moving into these other particular neighborhoods that are, like say, Caucasians. So how would you implement that? Because yes, how are you gonna make to these people to feel related to you, or to make them really say, well, this is the guy that I want to vote for?
Well, what West Houston has from Harris County is Steve Raddick. Steve Raddick went in and he built a lot of community centers, and the community centers have events all day. That's something that the city of Houston needs to do. They need to engage the people. They don't need to just write new ordinances and find out what the people in the area don't like. So let's make an ordinance so that business can't run there. They need to engage the businesses, make sure that there's growth, so that there's jobs, so that everybody can get the leg up and start moving forward in the climb of up the social ladder, as I call it.
Okay, so for both of you, Mr. Hale and Mr. Mills, recently, I know y'all know we had the wage strike that just happened a few days ago. And it was interesting because Houston, or the state of Texas, is an at-will state versus some other states where workers seem to have a little bit more protection with being able to voice their discernments and not be terminated for that. How do you feel, how do both of you feel about the wage increase and about the strike?
Well, I think basically family is the key to economic stability. Even though family is not an economic system, it is basically a love association of family members. But it's where you learn economics. And unfortunately, in our society in general, there's a breakdown of family structure, especially in minority communities. And that impacts economics in a way that is unhealthy. So obviously, the living wage concept is that the minimum wage today is not a living wage, because it is very difficult for people to live on $7.65 an hour. So there ought to be some way that businesses and governmental entities can come together to say that families, individuals need to earn a fair living wage.
I agree with that. I think that a lot of businesses, with a lot of the things on the national level that are hitting them, like Obamacare, they're trying to design their company to where their company can still take care of their employees and they can still have a job, but not take away the amount of pay that they get. But they want to be able to continue to employ people. But what's going on the national level is actually, it's hurting a lot of small businesses, because then you have local city government increasing permit fees, increasing occupational licenses and stuff like that all throughout the state. So it's really hurting to get a sustainable minimum wage where people can live off of. And I think it was Harvard did a study about 8 or 9 months ago where they said in order for a family to live, they would have to have a living wage of about $13.45 an hour, and 2 people in the family would have to have it. So that's almost $30 an hour is what they're characterizing what a normal family could live off of. And I think that being able to get there, it's pretty difficult to have the government tell a small business that you have to pay, your employees this much. But hopefully the good of the heart of the people will learn that, hey, I need to take care of my employees because they do a good job.
Right.
Well, unfortunately, we have a situation in our society today where we have one-party politics, and the one party is the corporate party with 2 different factions, Democrat and Republican. And even with the city issue about wages, you notice that the executives and the people at the higher end they got enormous increases, in salary. And that's what the firefighters and the policemen and everybody is talking about, that individuals who go into politics, they go into it in order to make money personally for themselves. And in order to get elected, they have to go to the corporate party. And once you go to the corporate party and these people feed you the resources in order for you to get elected, then your loyalty is to the people who funded your campaign and not to the people that you say you want to represent, whether it's in a single member district or whether it's an at-large city council position or what have you. And so consequently, what you have is this corporate party that controls the political process.
Mr. Mills, I'm going to stop you there, but we will finish. You have a caller. We're ready to take the caller.
Hello.
Hi, this is People's Politics. What do the people have to say?
Hi. I wanted to know if we didn't get the minimum wage increase, will we at least get health care?
Very good question.
I doubt it very seriously. The healthcare issue today has been characterized as Obamacare.
Right.
And unfortunately, we all understand what is going on with President Obama. It is not by accident of history that the White House is called the White House and it is painted white. And now you have a different color family living in the house, and there are some people who are saying, get out of the house. And so consequently, you have the polarization of politics and the signature legislative process, which was health care. And health care ought to be a human right, because we ought to have the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And if you're not healthy, you can't pursue happiness, because no one should want to go to heaven unless they can get there alive.
But would it not be fair to say the United States, to some degree, might be a little bit behind, because you have countries like the UK and Europe who have always had, they have national health care. They offer that to all of their citizens, And so if you can't afford private health care, the alternative would be another form of health care, rather than having 1 billion people here and like 60% of them not being insured, So it's forced, but is it for the greater good, like Mr. Hale?
Well, I think Obamacare could have done a lot better. It could have had writers do a lot better when they written the law. They could have actually had it to where all the states were open. You're allowed to get insurance from any state, because there's still a lot of states that don't allow you to buy insurance outside of your state. And I think that is holding people back from being able to have good health care.
Well, I can understand that concept, but healthcare ought not to be capitalism. It ought not to be capitalism. It ought to be your right as an American citizen, based upon the Constitution, which says we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal. And equal means more or less equal to some people, not equal is equal. And if equal is equal, then my right to be healthy, because like I said earlier in a joking kind of way, health is wealth. And if you cannot get access to health care based on the Hippocratic Oath that doctors and people who are in the health profession take, to not be in it for money, but you're in it because you want to provide a health care service to individuals in terms of helping them learn how to eat properly and take care of themselves, et cetera, and so forth. So to me, the issue is not whether or not we can some kind of way position healthcare as some capitalistic process whereby people at the top can earn money or make money, but healthcare ought to be service to individuals in terms of helping people live healthy lifestyles. Because, like I said, health is wealth.
I think it would be nice if Doctors Without Borders worked inside of the U.S.
Right?
That would be great. And I have to say, like, I come from, El Salvador, and thinking about this whole healthcare issue, we have the choice, at least. In my country, you can, in El Salvador, you have the choice. Of course, it has a million other issues, but you have the choice of having, the private or the free healthcare. And that's at least, you can definitely, you are going to be healthy. If something happened and you can afford it, you can go to the ones you pay at $5 and you can get it.
Yeah.
But it's just scary. It's scary. At least, a choice, it would be good. And now just moving, maybe I'm a little off the tangent, but you mentioned something, about being healthy in general, not only, health in like teeth or these, but yes, but also, in a mind state, body,
Right.
Like the Greeks. And I have a question for you, and community, and about being healthy, and also related to crime, because we want also moving on a little bit from the health of body, but like the community. I know when we were talking previously, you said you have experience in the
Private security.
private security. Sorry. How would you keep our communities healthy in this sense? I want to, because I know you mentioned in one of, you hear in your points, but how would you?
7 points.
7 points. How would you implement these in the communities? I'm really intrigued because there's so many, like the crime, being you having that experience.
Yeah. I think, the city has a lot of great projects right now where they actually, new doctors who open offices in districts, they actually will work together with them to do like a free healthcare day. Or down at Reliant, they have free healthcare. It would be nice if the city would be able to provide places for the individuals to go, if they don't have insurance, if they can't afford insurance, if they can't afford to go to the emergency room, having clinics all around, because there's a lot of clinics in District A, and those doctors do such a great job because they provide for the people that are only cash pay, people that can't afford to have the insurance. And I think with what the fine is, either 1% of your income or $695 or something like that, it's a really low number. A lot of people, the first couple of years, they're going to take the fine over buying insurance because it's cheaper. I think that the city working together with new doctors that are fresh out of residency, that are looking to set up practices, to actually help them set up their practices while they give free health care to people.
Mr. Hale, I would like to know, you said that you have Native American descendants.
Yes.
Do you have a close relation? Like, are you affiliated with any associations with them, with your?
There's not really an association for the Cherokee tribe. There is, you go through your blood test, you have to track back to the Dawes rolls to make sure that you're a descendant. And my great-grandmother is actually number 113 on the Dawes rolls, so I have direct lineage. I've tracked it back, but I'm not a member of a tribe.
Okay. And you one of your 7 points was, since we're kind of talking about socioeconomic, also I guess health and welfare, is small businesses.
Yes.
And how would you like to help people in your community with small businesses?
Well, right now, each of the districts, they have management districts, and the management districts will, for free, actually put your business website, your business on the management district. So if you're going to travel to a specific area of town, you can actually look at what types of businesses are there, what restaurants, what apparel stores you can go to. Working with all the small businesses in the area to let them know that the management district is there to help them and that they can actually work with them to get their name out there. It's basically free advertising.
Mr. Mills, Do you think that part of our socioeconomic issues is because of the lack of small businesses and opportunities?
I definitely feel that the engine that kind propels American society is small businesses. It is family members getting together, starting a little family business and providing a service or a product and so forth. And unfortunately, there are many obstacles in our society in terms of acquiring capital to start up a small business and so forth. Many of the large corporations, they are actually subsidized in many kinds of ways in order to not only market, their products, but in order to create their products and so forth. So yes, I think that part of what we need to do as a society is to encourage more small business development.
Okay. What do you think, this question is actually for the both of you, with advancing technology, I think for especially our youth, they're exposed to enough, I guess, as it is, but on a positive level in the school system, in your district, in our greater city of Houston. So what do you think about helping that in your district?
I think because the school districts are actually controlled by the Board of Trustees, being able to have a council member that actually looks over the district and actually deals with the constitutes, being able to have a great relationship with that Board of Trustees to make sure that they are spending money on the new technology, because once those kids start going to junior high and high school and they graduate from high school, they get to a company's going to be like, here's an iPad, here's all our software, you gotta know how to use it. And I think being able to show them the technology at a young age to be able to work with it is a great thing. Right. I remember in elementary school, when Apple computers came out in the 80s, we actually got to work on them. So it created a love of technology for me.
Right.
I think really, to be honest with you, nothing can take the place of great teachers. And unfortunately, in our society, we are an information technology-oriented society. But oftentimes, young people in schools don't have good teachers. When I was coming along, I had good teachers. And teachers teach. Technology can't teach. So we need the technology because computers are an information center. I volunteer with a group called the Bridging Digital Divide Group, and we try to provide technology information to child development centers and so forth. But still, I think that the technology should be there. We should make sure that it's available, but we should also ensure that we have good teachers in our schools.
So, Mr. Hall, how would you balance these? Because you have a great point right there. And I also agree that technology, is great also nowadays. Our kids, they're just, growing up. They are born knowing how to use these things. So
Right.
how would you balance technology with actually, because it always goes back to that, great teachers. That's the main thing. And then these are only, it's just a gadget, something on the side that can help us. But how would you do to balance these in schools, and how would you fund these technology?
I think the best way to fund it, and it kind of hurts to fund it this way, but it's, you have to engage in the high school level, you need to engage companies that are looking for new talent that is going to be coming fresh out of high school. The Texas State Board of Education recently passed the new standards for graduation, where the kids are going to be able to pick a field of study to be able to get their degree, their high school diploma, but they're calling it it's almost like a degree. And what they'll do is they'll learn it, and then they'll go off to college, and they'll already have a lot of their prep courses out of the way. So it takes the 4-year degree down to 2.5, maybe 3 years for a kid to be able to graduate. Having companies come in to fund the technology being put into the schools, like an architectural firm providing the actual HCAD printers for the students to use and learn on, and the softwares, design schools maybe coming in and giving them Adobe Acrobat or giving them CS4 or CS5 and letting them learn on those programs with it not coming from the taxpayers. So we have to engage companies to make sure that the youth have a future when they get out of high school.
So where would that money come from?
It would come specifically from those companies. We would go talk to the board of trustees in the school district, be like, hey, this is company A and company B. These are architects. These are design firms. They want to come in and donate printers and computers for the students to use.
Okay, so and I guess I'm asking because Houston has a drainage issue. We have all these issues, and they need to be fixed and corrected. But what the taxpayers don't want is for us to keep getting the increase to get these things done. So when you say I'm gonna be able to, if not lower, at least keep us where we are, where does that come from though to be able to get the job done?
Well, having a council member that would actually go in and sit in on like a TRIZ meeting to find out where the infrastructure is being designed and how that architectural firm is actually going to do projections with the program they have. I recently sat in on one of those meetings. I usually send somebody there to get the materials because I don't want to cause a controversy because I don't like how they're run.
Right.
They actually were making a motion for one architectural firm on the board to pay another one with our tax dollars $50,000 to use their program just to back check what they had already done. They use a model and software that the city doesn't even use and can't check. So they have to have a second entity do it. So basically, there's a lot of waste there. I'm sorry, $50,000 for software is just, I don't like the name of that price tag.
Right.
That's not happening. We need council members that will get involved in the TRIZs and make sure that those boards are running properly, make sure the infrastructure is getting done right, and there's no waste, because if there's no waste, our taxes go down.
Okay. Mr. Mills, do you think that the economic crisis that we're having in the city of Houston is being put on the taxpayers?
Well, obviously, we have taxation without representation in many instances. But to clean up one point that I made earlier, I think that our children have really become mechanized rather than spiritualized. And when you mechanize children the way we have mechanized them, because everything you need to know or should know, it's in a text from Genesis to Revelations. And unfortunately, the spiritual dimension of our culture has been on the wane for quite some time. That's why, out in Oklahoma, 3 young men could go and shoot a person in the back riding along because they just wanted to see how it feels to kill someone. And that's a result of, us creating a culture whereby we're mechanized, and a gun then becomes the source of power and a way to solve problems rather than intellectually.
So you think the pastor or the minister should have more of a active role, I guess you're saying?
Well, what has happened in our culture is that the institutional church, institutional Christianity, it has been hijacked. It has been hijacked by double-minded men who desire to acquire wealth on a personal and individualistic level. So the church has become money-driven, about money, about the dollar, rather than about family. The institutional church ought to be about family, not about dollars, not about money. And unfortunately, that's what you have in American society today. You have a corporate church. You don't have
the churches
family.
have gotten to be so huge now.
Right.
I mean, you have them now with a congregation of 30,000 plus, which would probably wasn't even heard of 100 years ago and never thought that it would exist.
Right.
So it is a capitalist world. I mean, it's now the money has taken over. But I guess my question for the two of you then would be, do you think that the church should govern some form of an active role in the district and in for you with the society? Should they have more, since they are generating the revenue, do we get some of that back since they're nonprofit?
Well, I think when you engage the church and the church starts to engage the people, you do get a lot of help towards the homeless. You get a lot of help towards helping families around Christmas time, helping them around Thanksgiving time. My family received a lot of help growing up from the church. I mean, just overwhelming support. When my dad died when I was a young kid, I mean, they were there for us. They helped us at Christmas. They helped us at Thanksgiving. And having the church in my life has helped a lot. It's brought me to a path of wanting to get into city council to actually use what I've learned from the Bible to make the right decisions to make sure that, you know, the city is run properly.
Hold on, Mr. Hale, we have a call for you.
Okay.
We'll go ahead and take that call.
Hello.
Hi, thank you for calling People's Politics.
Oh, thank you. I had a question for both of the campaigns. There, whose responsibility is it to donate? You had mentioned something about a corporate church. I mean, is it the business's responsibility to donate the money? Is it the individuals? Is it should we be focusing on the churches because they don't have to pay taxes? Should they disproportionately pay more, or what do you guys feel about that?
No, what I was saying is that the church is supposed to be about love and service. The church is not a corporation, should not be about a corporation. Churches are made up of families.
Pays
The
no
church,
taxes like a corporation.
right. The church as an invisible entity, that's in the heart of your mind. That's about your own moral conscience. So every individual should go to church before they come to church. And unfortunately, most people don't understand that concept. So I don't think that the church, in terms of some corporate entity, ought to be involved in politics institutionally. I think individuals need to be involved in politics. And I think that individuals who attend different churches need to hold pastoral leadership accountable to the families involved in that church rather than,
But is it the responsibility of the church to tell the people who to vote for?
No, we're not talking about, that's not what we're talking about. We're not talking about churches telling people who to vote for, who not to vote for, and so forth. Again, that's a moral conscience issue. Voting is a personal choice, sacred issue. You go in the polling place by yourself, you and God, you vote your conscience.
Yeah.
All right, thank you, caller. I remember when Da Vinci Code came out. And which I won't mention names, but, our minister forbade going to see this film. Of course, that meant I had to shoot out right then and go see it. Like, I'm not sure if I even got out of my church clothes, and because it was the curiosity of why it was taking on so much controversy. But I say that just to say that it's amazing at the insurmountable amount of power that a minister can have on a group of people. Because, I'm sure I wasn't the only one who went to go and see it, but I could tell you that the vast majority did not because of that. So I think that's why they were probably.
All I'm saying is that I think that the role of the church in society is that of moral referee. The church has to be the moral referee.
The moral aspect,
Yeah.
not to make profit.
Yeah, right.
any
Not to
way.
make profit. That's it.
Well, if they don't make profit, then how would they sustain them?
Well, we understand that churches have mortgage notes, they have
Right.
salaries that they have to pay, light bills, gas bills. You know, everyone understands that. You know, and when you go to church, you know, I go to church every Sunday, and obviously I give a fairly decent sum of money, my wife and I, every Sunday. And if I'm not there, I still give a decent amount of money, every Sunday. So we understand that churches have expenses, but the church has to understand that we all have a soul note. And you might have your mortgage note,
Right.
but you got a soul note you got to pay one day too.
Is there a certain amount of, I guess, when it comes to the city and like your district, if we need more computers for this school, or if one school seems to be less advantageous than another, do we have a certain amount of indemnity to go through the church? Do they have to give some of those resources since they're nonprofit?
I mean, some churches are they find throughout their congregation, the people in the congregation to donate those types of things.
Okay.
I mean, going to a church first, I think that's what a lot of people think. The church is going to be the first one to give.
Right.
And so they will go to the church, they will talk to the pastor, the priest, the cardinal, and be like, the school's suffering, we need help. Can you pray for us? Can you find some help for us? And if they find it, they find it.
Like my church, I go to Covenant Glen United Methodist Church down in Missouri City, and at the beginning of the school year, we do a backpack drive. We do materials and supply type drives for, young people who may not have the family resources and so forth. So those are natural love and service type things that churches should do. But in terms of churches trying to dictate to school districts what they should do and how they should allocate resources and so forth, I don't think that churches should be involved in that kind of thing and so forth. But by the same token, I think that churches ought to be involved in love and service and not be open on a Sunday and midweek service for the collection plate.
Right.
Yeah.
But when it comes to the other days of the week, you close for love and service. So if a senior citizen comes by and needs help, or if an elderly person needs their house painted, or if there's some homeless person and so forth, the church is closed. That's the kind of thing.
Mr. Hale, for your district, which is quite vast,
Yes.
you have a huge, I guess, socio-demographic mix.
Yes.
Do you think that you would struggle if you were to be elected with getting adequate funding? And I'm saying that from the standpoint of other candidates that we've had from other districts. And sometimes we get a conflict of one area may have a little bit more favoritism than another area. Do you think that that's something that you would struggle with?
No, I think being able to tell the whole district that we all need to work together, we all need to come together, because there's a lot of parts of the district that really have been neglected from the past administrations. I mean, and I'm talking about really neglected.
Right.
The first curb I ever hit and popped my first tire
Right.
is still broken.
Right.
And that was in the 90s. So
Yeah.
we're going to say that, I understand that, getting the funding, you have to work with the mayor, whoever the mayor is. You got to make sure the mayor's happy, because we have a mayoral city council. It would be nice to get a candidate for mayor that says, you know what, everybody gets 3 items to put in every week when we meet and on the agenda, and I'm not going to say, oh, we don't have the votes, we're not doing it.
Right.
We need a candidate that's going to open city council.
Squeaky wheel gets the
Absolutely. And I think he has an advantage point because you live in the district,
Yes.
which is always good, Gabby.
I actually I don't want to end anything without asking you, because I'm really concerned about the recycling, and you mentioned it in one of your 7 points. So I'm really intrigued. how would you, or what type of programs would you implement? Because I just, I don't know if you saw today, a few, I guess it was yesterday, but I read something about in Beijing, in China, there you can pay your bus ride with a plastic bottle.
Yeah.
I was like, I have to ask you about this because I'm really interested in the whole recycling and management of the waste.
If we look on a larger scale of what's going on in the rest of the world and try to bring, because Houston is a hub, an international hub, we need to start bringing in recycling ideas like CompUSA does the computers, HPD does bullets, they do old prescriptions, there's all types of recycling. It's not just limited to cans and bottles, but if somebody could donate 5 cans for a bus ride, I'm pretty sure a lot more people will be riding Metro.
That's a great incentive.
Absolutely,
I will be
absolutely.
right there.
I mean, and I think going green is the way to go. Mr. Mills, are you
I
in
agree.
support?
That's a very creative concept.
Okay,
It's a very creative concept.
very well.
Fascinating concept.
Gabby,
Well, I guess.
we were gonna ask. Well, okay, I'll let you get to that point, Mr. Hale. When? Oh, we got a caller. Okay, sorry. We'll take that call. Go ahead.
Yes.
Hi. Thank you for calling People's Politics.
Yes. I have just a question that I wanted to ask because it's just a concern of mine, and I don't understand why. What is the purpose of pastor's anniversary? We finished with one pastor's anniversary. Then we turn around, we have to have the wife's anniversary. And then after we have the wife's anniversary, then we have a love offering. After the love, this looks like to me, sometimes things are just out of retrospect. And after we get through with that one, here's a pastor with 2 cars, swimming pool, and a house. What in the world? Okay, I'll just hang up.
You getting tired of passing the plate around.
Ooh, I have never seen anything like this.
Thank you, caller.
Well,
Thank you. Well, that was entertaining.
yeah, that was, well, I think
Mr.
that
Hale, what do you
takes the
think
cake.
about that?
I think the plate goes around a lot. And
Right.
sometimes it's for repetitive stuff that you're like, didn't we just pay for that?
Right.
Well, I tell you what, in the first century, Jesus chased the money changers out, turned the tables over, and said that they had turned the house of prayer into a den of thieves. Well, in the 21st century, they're back, and they are stronger than ever. And it is unfortunate, and it is one of the key problems in our society today, that Christianity is corporate. It is about the collection plate and pastoral lifestyle rather than love and service to a community, because churches institutionally ought to be about community development.
Did you hear about the minister who wanted his congregation to donate the $50,000 for the helicopter blades?
Well, yes.
Yeah, that was just a few weeks ago.
You know,
Should that money? I'm thinking like half of the congregation probably didn't have their car note.
well, you know, it's a sad commentary on what goes on in church life that, you know, we have to even talk about something of that nature.
Mm-hmm.
No one wants to personally malign anyone, but people ought to know that a double portion is going to be there at the end of the day for pastors who eat the sheep rather than feeding the sheep. You know, Jesus said, "Feed my sheep." He didn't tell anybody to eat the sheep. And unfortunately, there are a lot of pastoral leaders today who are eating the sheep. They're not even witch doctors. because at least a witch doctor, he believes in the foolishness that he's dealing with. But a lot of the pastoral leadership in our communities today, they don't even believe what they're preaching themselves. Because if they did, they would behave differently.
I agree with a lot of what you said. I think I'm not sure where we're going as a society. I think that it comes to leadership
We hope not
roles.
to hell in a handbasket.
I hope not. Absolutely.
Well, when you talk about where we're going as a society, I hope we don't go where Arizona went, where they're trying to make sure no Christian ever serves on city council.
Right.
That's a direction we don't need to go.
Yeah.
If somebody has one type of views, they should be allowed to express their views. If the people agree with them, they will vote them into office.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, we have another caller. We'll quickly take them. Caller, go ahead. People's Politics. What do the people have to say? Okay, they hung up. But I guess the point that I had wanted to make was that I think it's about leadership. Okay, the caller's calling back. People's Politics. What do the people have to say?
I wanted to ask,
Ma'am?
yes,
Yes.
I wanted to ask the candidates a question.
Okay.
Sure.
Hi, I wanted to ask the two candidates their view on drug testing for welfare recipients.
Well, I think that when people go and try to get a job, they're asked to, take a drug test. I understand that it's on one hand, it would be good to weed out the people that are cheating the system, but on the other hand, you're making people go through something that's a bit of an embarrassment to have to go through it, have to sit there and wait just to be able to put food on their table.
Caller? Thank you. I think she hung up. Is it something that is a necessity, though?
Personally, it's a double-edged sword. I mean, it could be necessary, but I mean, on the scale that they say that they catch people cheating the system, it's like 2% out of everyone.
What about on the socio-economic level? Like, I'm not so much against drug testing maybe for job and employment, but I thought it was a little bit harsh when you start saying for social servicing.
Yeah.
To use it, I guess, as a deniability factor.
I think if the issue is to find out what can be done to assist a person with those kinds of issues and not be a punishment to the person because they have the issue, but it's a way to assist the person to help them change their lifestyle. That's a whole different kind of approach.
Yeah.
Well, to assist them, though, you would have to mandate that they do some type of one of these anonymous programmings or something. But when you deny them a way to feed their family, that's a punishment. And we have a caller. Thank you for calling People's Politics.
Hi, it was just a follow-up to the question that I had asked. It just seems to me that I have to be drug tested in order to work. And to maintain my job, I have to submit to random drug tests. And if I don't test negative, then I lose my job. And I just think that people who are on welfare that is being paid by me should be subject to the same level that I am subjected to.
They are. That's the one of the points that we were just talking about. It's being mandated now that people in the social servicing area that are looking for help, food stamps, Medicaid, are now being required to do drug testing. And so the issue is, should it be used as a form of a punishment? Because, even if they did come up positive, they still have 3 mouths at the table that have to be fed versus getting them the help that they need and providing them the resources. And that's the issue.
Like taking like a rehabilitation
Yeah.
course
Right,
or
right.
trying to help them kick
Absolutely.
the habit.
To a drug program or something of that nature. That's
Caller, do you agree or disagree?
Well, no, I don't agree because I think that putting in mandatory drug testing, the idea that you're going to lose that benefit would make people stop using it as much. And I understand all about it being an addiction, but, you know, I could drive by a bank every day, and because I'm financially strapped, I might think about robbing that bank, but I don't rob that bank. So a person who is given money, my money, I don't think they should be allowed to be on drugs and take that money. And likewise, the cards that allow them to get food, that's okay, but I think there should be limits on what they can buy. I don't think they should be allowed to buy alcohol or cigarettes or use it at fast food places. You know, a lot of times I see people using
But
cards.
do you know that politicians aren't required to take drug tests at all?
I don't know if they are or not.
No,
Are they the
I'm
crooks
telling
we're
you
talking
that.
about?
No, I'm telling
Are
you
they
that.
on welfare? I don't think so.
But they're not required to take one at all.
they're on welfare because they transform.
But it's
because many of them go into politics to become wealthy, and they are wealthy.
You know,
They get wealthy once they go in.
Well, caller,
many of them go in poor, but they come out wealthy.
But I think what a lot.
Thank you, caller.
I think what a lot of people do to work the system is it's not the individual that's getting the food stamps. It's the liquor store that's labeling the bottle of liquor as food. So when they run through the cash register, you know, it's food. It's not liquor. You know,
Absolutely.
that's part of the breakdown in the system.
I would agree with you on that.
That's the capitalism part, the vulgar capitalism part of it.
Gentlemen, it has been an absolute pleasure. And we have 1 minute for you, each of you. I would like, I'm going to start with you, Mr. Mills, for you to just tell people about you and your corporate Christianity.
Well, I'm a sociologist, but I went to seminary and studied theology and was disappointed that I saw too many individuals going into the pastoral ministry for money. So I've written a couple of books about this. One entitled Corporate Christianity, How Double-Minded Pastors Are Hijacking Christianity. And the second follow-up book is Let the Church Be the Church. And I think if we allow those two things to happen, we'll have a better society.
Candidate Ron Hale, tell the people about you.
Well, I'm the director of operations for a private security firm. I want to take that knowledge that I have to run for public office to represent the constituents of Houston's District A, which is northwest Houston, which is the Spring Branch, Bear Creek area, and then some of the incorporated areas, Cutton Road down 249 up to Spring Cypress, and Kirkendall 1960 area. I want to be the voice of the unheard. I live in a neighborhood that is neglected by the city. I've ventured off into every neighborhood in District A, driven it, and I've driven it for my whole life since I was able to drive my car. I see all the problems. All the problems have remained because we've had past administrations that just don't work with the mayors. They don't understand that it's a mayoral city. You have to work with the mayor in order to be able to get your CIP projects on the books to get them done. If you start disagreeing with the mayor, your project gets slowed down. But please vote for Ron Hale on November 5th.
You have been watching People's Politics, produced by Sir Nemesis the Truth, my co-host, Gabriella. And I hope you've enjoyed our show and our wonderful guest, candidate Ron Hale, Dr. Bobby Mills. Thank you again for watching People's Politics.
It's not enough for just some of us to prosper. For alongside our famous individualism, there's another ingredient in the American saga. We are one people. A belief that we're all connected as one people. One people. If there's a child on the south side of Chicago who can't read, that matters to me.
Thank you for watching the award-winning People's Politics. Thank you for watching the People's Award-winning Politics. Oh, say my name. My goodness. Okay. I'm Bobby Mills. Thank you for watching the People's Award-winning Politics. Award-winning People's Politics. 3, 2, 1. I'm Bobby Mills. Thank you for watching the award-winning People's Politics.
For Houston District A, and thank you for watching the award-winning People's Politics. Hi, I'm Ron Hale, candidate for Houston's District A. Thank you for watching the award-winning People's Politics. I'm Ron Hale, candidate for Houston District A, and thank you for watching the award-winning People's Politics. Ron Hale, and thank you for watching the award-winning People's Politics.
I am Gabriela Duarte. Thank you for watching the award-winning People's Politics. I said it right though? Hi, I'm Gabriela Duarte. Thank you for watching the award-winning People's Politics. Rewind. Hi, I'm Gabriela Duarte. Thank you for watching the award-winning People's Politics. Hola, soy Gabriela Duarte. Gracias por ver el ganador del premio People's Politics. I need to rethink that though, how it sounded. Hola, soy Gabriela Duarte. Gracias por ver People's Politics.
Hi, this is Aisha Sapp, and you are watching the award-winning People's Politics. Hi, this is Aisha Sapp, and you are watching the award-winning People's Politics. All right. Yay!